the volume.
Turn up the volume.
You've arrived at the destination for all things Kentucky. This is the Bleed Blue Network Podcast.
What's going on, Big Blue Nation? Welcome back to the Bleed Blue Network podcast. We are excited to be running down Kentucky's 2024 preview position by position group here. I am joined, as always, by my partner in crime, Kyndall. How's it going?
It's going. I'm excited.
It's like terrible outside. Speaking of weather, this is probably someone who would definitely not like to be playing in this type of weather. We have the place kicker for the University of Kentucky, Alex Raynor. What's up, man?
What's up? How's it going, guys?
Good. This is not what you want to play in, right?
Not ideal, but got to go out and rip it regardless. So
I think this is like maybe like a funny, weird first question. It wasn't meant to be this way, but like, how much does weather affect? Now, I'm not talking about 30-mile-an-hour winds and like a torrential downpour, but like today, where it's not disgusting, but it's kind of like a decent like drizzle. How much does that affect you as a kicker on the field, if anything?
I would say, if anything, it affects the balls more than anything. When the balls get wet, they get heavier. Therefore, you have to limit your reps because the ball is heavier. But besides that, I mean, the only thing that really you have to kind of play with is the wind.
Right.
The wind is where, like, there was one time in spring ball where it was blowing probably a gust up to 35. That was something to deal with for sure. But rain, it's not too big of a deal.
When you're in a practice setting, it's really blowing. Obviously, it's not a game setting. You know you want to take it seriously. But is there just like a funny, goofy element that goes into it of like, all right, I'm just going to kick it like way over here and see if I can just hook it in?
Yeah, it's a lot of like experimental stuff. Like I'm aiming 5 yards outside the right upright, and it's just barely going in the left upright. So that practice was pretty crazy.
Have you? I don't know if you ever saw this. There used to be like a game that you could download on your phone or like iPod where you would like swipe the ball and then the So you know what I'm talking. Is that kind of like do you ever get that kind of like flashback to playing that?
I would say it's more stressful on the field than doing the little flick.
Well, yeah, obviously.
But yeah.
Especially when you have 300-pound guys trying to kill you.
Yeah. Yep.
When you and I know like this is like weird stuff because people don't think about this and it's just kind of like but when you're on the field, and do you actually like look at what's going on in that line, or is it just straight ball straight up and nothing else?
No, I try and keep it as simple as possible. The moment I start looking around is the moment you start thinking about other things, and then it just I try and stay focused, have confidence in what I do, and then rely on my snapper, holder, and then the big guys up front to block. So try and keep it as simple as possible.
I would probably be that way. I'm not that big, so I would be scared.
I mean, yeah, me and my 5 foot, maybe 5'1" on a good day, probably wouldn't love.
You wouldn't kick it over the
there.
line.
Oh no, I would never make it that far either.
You're just straight in the back, straight kill someone.
There's some big boys up front there.
Yeah. So did you start out playing football or did you start out playing soccer? I know like some kickers kind of do a little bit of both. What's kind of your journey to being a kicker here in the SEC?
Yeah, so I started playing soccer really young. Soccer and golf were my 2 sports.
Okay.
But, my dad played golf at Florida State. He's in the Hall of Fame there. So he put a club in my hand when I was knee high, and then I played soccer for pretty much my whole life. So those were my 2 sports. My last year of soccer was sophomore year of high school.
Okay.
Decided to call it quits on soccer and try and chase the football dream, and here I am. So very thankful for it.
So are you a big soccer fan?
I was. Every time I watch it, I miss it. But I don't watch it much.
No, well, you don't have a ton of time. It's not like on Saturday mornings you're gonna wake up at like 7 and watch the Premier League.
I used to. That was my thing.
Really?
Who is your team?
I liked watching Man City.
Oh, this interview is over.
Man City and Chelsea.
This interview is over. Jesus Christ, this interview is so done.
I mean, like, even like the 7-year-old kids I keep, they love Manchester. Like,
Yeah, but are we talking about Manchester United or Manchester City? There is a distinct difference.
They are City.
So it's so weird to me because when I grew up, Man United was the be-all, end-all of beating everybody to death in Europe. And then, they won, 13 Premier Leagues in 20 seasons, right? Like it was a dominant run. And now watching City do what they're doing is disgusting, and it makes me want to vomit. I have actually been to Old Trafford and seen Man United and Man City play.
Oh, man.
I was at the last. We're just getting serenaded by the sirens. Every time we do one of these, it's just sirens. I actually was at the last Premier League match that Man United or that anybody played before COVID when everything shut down, and it was United City. It was the last Premier League game they had with fans for like 2 years.
Man. You're a lucky man. I would love to go see that.
United won. Just throwing that out there. Okay. 2-1. It was a good time, or 2-0. Sorry, it was good. But I digress. Obviously, this is now your second season with the University of Kentucky. You had a really solid season last year. How big was it coming in last year, knowing that Kentucky had struggles in the kicking game, all the way around? Did you feel any pressure coming here, knowing that they were counting on you to really right that ship?
I would say no. I didn't feel any more pressure than usual to go perform and be myself. I mean, I kind of heard from other coaches and other players that it necessarily wasn't the best from the past season, but
it was terrible. Just I'll be nice.
Yeah.
That you can be nice. I'll be bad. It'll be blunt. It was awful.
Okay. I mean, I've talked to Ruffalo a few times, so I mean, I don't know if it was an operation issue. I don't know exactly what was going on.
Well, the snaps probably didn't help that that they didn't get to where he could kick it. That was part of the problem.
Yeah, that's a big problem.
Yeah, and I'm sure like you as a kicker, does that get in your head? Like if you see a lot of bad snaps, do you start to rush things or rush the clock up, knowing that they've had that problem?
It's tough when the snap is coming in different places, just because it kind of throws the timing off. When you take your jab and when you go and when you leave when the ball is snapped, if it's high, low, it just kind of, you see it out of your peripheral and it's just not the ideal situation. But anyways, back to what you said, I would say I put a lot of pressure on myself more than anything to just go prepare. Like, I practice like it's a game. So that definitely helps me a lot. When I go out there, I know I'm ready.
Makes sense. So what does the kind of your week to week look like preparing for the next game? So Saturday you leave the field after that game. How does it look from Sunday to next Saturday?
Okay, so Saturday after the game, usually spending time with family, go to Drake's or something like that. You know how that goes. Sunday is off. That's usually a chill day. That's our chill day. Go in and get treatment.
Damn kickers don't need ice baths after the game, man.
Everybody can use a good ice bath.
I'm just messing with you,
man. Do whatever you want in the treatment room. Depending on how the game went, Sunday treatment. Monday, just back to meetings. Pretty sure we lift that day. Tuesday is kick day. So that's like my big preparation day, Tuesday. Obviously meetings that day. Wednesday, pretty chill. Meetings as always, practice, don't kick. Thursday, kick, meetings. That's like the final prep day, not many reps. Friday, just a mental visualization, and Saturday, go rip it.
Nice.
So I think the biggest thing that I took away from you last year is your accuracy. Looking at your career kind of over the past 2 years as well, you're 8 for 9 between 40 to 49 yards. In the college game, that's, obviously that's really good because that's well over 90%. Is that a big piece of something that you really were? I know earlier in your career it was a little bit not as good, but like, is that something that you really kind of focused on, was kicks from distance? Because you've been real solid inside of 40 yards your entire career. From that 49 to 50 range, was that just a big focus for you kind of over the last couple of years?
Yeah, I would say there's been a lot of reps where I've taken, like, my coach is always like, dude, why are you backing up so far? Like that kind of thing. But if you don't practice it, you're not gonna make them in game.
Right.
So you got to go out and get as many reps as possible to where you feel comfortable from that distance, and then everything should fall into place. Keep your form, keep your mind right, and all that good stuff.
Is it easier to kick on specific turf? It's a weird question, right? But now you play on like it's all different now.
Yeah. Okay. So it's interesting because last year at Vandy, me and Coach walked out and we were like, okay, this is an interesting place to kick with all the construction in the back.
Yeah.
So like usually you'll pick an aiming point and like stick to it. I would say the turf felt like a little sandbox, like kicking out of a sandbox almost, which was interesting. Georgia was rough just because they had a big rainstorm come in a couple weeks prior. So that was like colored sand. It was like green colored sand. Yeah, it was weird.
It looked good on TV.
Yeah, that's why our unit forms after the game were green. Yeah. But besides that, every single field I've kicked on is relatively similar. Some turf being longer than others, but yeah, I would say most turf is usually the same.
What about the stadium? Does that matter? I know you mentioned Vandy. See, we're going to go down the weeds in this. This is all just stuff I don't think anybody really asks or thinks about. Yeah. Does the state is it easier to kick in? Like Kroger Field. I'm trying to think where compared to you didn't play at Florida. I guess Georgia, right? Like, does that matter? Not the turf specifically, but the stadium itself.
Okay, so stadium. The only thing I think of when I think of stadiums is different wind. Okay. There's different openings in the stadium. So like wind can come from different ways and you kind of got to figure that out pregame. But besides that, a field goal is a field goal. You got to go make it regardless of the stadium. But yeah, the wind definitely changes per stadium.
Okay.
How it swirls and
Well, Georgia's got that bit is massive, but it's open on one end, right? Like, so that's going to add a whole different aspect to where we, our home games, which is sort of closed off. Because I know where we sit sometimes, you'll feel it really windy kind of where we sit, and you'll look at the flags on the goalposts and they're barely moving.
Right. Yeah. The flags on top of the stadium will move, and then down on the field you feel nothing. So in that case, you just kind of look at the goalposts, and then if they're moving, sometimes it still doesn't mean anything. You just go kick it like there's no.
As long as they're not pointing directly sideways, right?
Yeah. Like yesterday I went out to go kick, and they were. I mean, the goalposts were rattling. It was a good experience. Yeah.
So you talked about whenever you go out, you're just really focused. How does the atmosphere of where we're playing, either at home or away, does that affect you at all, or are you very super drowned it out?
I try and drown it out as much as possible. You always feel the energy pregame, especially, I mean, coming from Georgia Southern, the pregame, the pregame walk, the catwalk, and then going into the locker room and then having fans next to you, like when you're walking to the stadium, it's a lot different than Georgia Southern. So you feel that sometimes, but that's part of the game. That's what makes it fun. I would say away games, I try and focus as much as possible to stay calm, just because it's a new field, just get my boundaries going, get my aiming point, all that good stuff. And yeah, like I said, go rip it, go make some field goals for the team.
Is it interesting? Because I know I've seen people talk about this, right? Like from a kicker's perspective, like sometimes you can do nothing for 3 games, and then all of a sudden, like the weight of everything, like you are either the goat or the scapegoat, right? What is that like mentally? And I know you've probably had big kicks for either winning a game at some point through your career. How does that play through your brain and your preparation process? Because Michael Jordan always said, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, and missing shots make you better. Do you, as a kicker, kind of take that same mental approach?
I'm the person that wants that kick. I want the big kick. I dream of that. I write it down on my goals. I want to hit game winners this year. I want to have another 90% season.
No offense. I hope you all have to hit no game winners.
Right. I hope it doesn't come out of that. But
I hope you go 7 for 7 on extra points in a lot of games.
Hey, okay, we'll take that all day. But, as a kicker, I hope I get those game winners.
Yeah.
Right.
That's something I dream of. I want it so bad. Obviously, I don't want the games to come down super close. I want to win every game by a blowout, but I know it's the SEC and every game's going to be close. Every team's talented. So
yeah, Austin McGinnis, brought 2 of the most iconic memories from the Stoops era against Louisville and Mississippi State. I remember when he said he was a 51-yard field goal, and everybody was like, nah. And then he kicked it, and we were like, maybe. I always end up like 4 rows somewhere else that I don't belong when we end up hitting something like last second or doing something crazy. I don't even just look up. I'm like, where am I? I wasn't sitting next to you. It's such an interesting aspect from, obvious. How do you stay dialed into the game? Obviously, from that perspective, when you're not on the field all the time, it's kind of like a pinch hitter in baseball, right? Like that mentality of you never know when your number is going to be called. Obviously, if you're going on a drive, that hey, we're inside 60 guys. I might have a chance here, right? Yeah. How is that kind of from your perspective? Like, how do you stay mentally like in tune from that part of the game where you're not always in every single play?
It can be tough, especially when you're not getting a ton of attempts. When you get a ton of attempts, you feel like you're kind of catching a groove throughout the year. Whereas like last year, it happens, but there was probably a 3-game stretch where I didn't have any field goals and I had a couple extra points here and there. But when you're in game, I feel like it's easy to stay dialed just because I stay pretty calm. I keep my emotions intact. I don't get too high, too low. It's easy to get high, and then after you miss, you kind of, some kickers lose it mentally. And I pride myself on staying dialed into the moment. Yeah. Are you
doing kickoffs this year?
I'm competing for it. Yep.
So from a kickoff perspective, right? This is a little bit different. What is that like kind of going? Because most people think you just line up, just kick the shit out of it, and that's the end of it. Right. Obviously, there's a little bit more to that, unless you're someone stupid that always kicks it to Barry and Brown, and then in which case, seek help. Yeah. When you're kind of lining up going through kickoffs, what does that change from your, from a planning from kicking a field goal to going on a kickoff? Because obviously that's different and everybody's running like, gladiator style trying to kill each other. How is that preparation completely different from actually kicking a field goal?
Yeah, kickoff is so fun just because on field goal, you're really trying to stay calm, keep your heartbeat down, breathe. Whereas like kickoff, they're playing like like
that energy is really,
like you can kind of harness that in kickoff and then just go destroy the ball. Whereas like in field goal, it's very different. You gotta stay down,
right?
Because you mess up a step or two, you get too excited, you get jumpy on a step, and the ball can start spraying. So on kickoff, there's a lot more room for error because also the ball's teed up. So you can just let it loose on it.
You get to be a little bit more jacked up and going into it.
Yeah, exactly.
So it is kind of how you described. You just go kick it.
When you're kind of, obviously I know you guys practice, fakes, trick plays and things like that. What is it? Does that change? Do you have to really harness not to like give that away? When like, hey, we're going to run a fake here or an onside kick or something, how do you make sure that you go through that preparation to where that the other team has no clue what's coming? I would be jacked. I would be looking at that. I would be pointing at like the line and be like, I'm gonna kick this so hard right now.
So it's only happened once to me in my career. We were playing App State at Georgia Southern, and then the coach happened to call a fake, and it was like a surreal feeling. Like I run out there and I'm like, there's no way. There's no way he trusts us to do this. But,
why is this on me?
Yeah. But it's such a, like I said, surreal feeling. Like you're running out there and you're about to run the ball. It's like, whoa. Like, that's crazy.
But, like, I don't even, do I know how to do this?
Right.
Still?
Yeah. It was like adrenaline just takes over. But
did you convert it?
I sure did. Yeah.
See, there you go.
Yeah, I caught a helmet right to the ribs, but.
See, ice bath.
Comes the next game in full quarterback pads.
I need more than ice bath after that. That was, that was bad. I was peeing blood for a few days.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
that wasn't even in the. Does that against Georgia? He's just gonna be like, nah.
No, like
calls fake field goal against Georgia, and all of a sudden it goes through, and it's like, why didn't you call them? Be like, did you see how big those sons of bitches were?
Yeah,
I called an audible.
Yeah,
put that ball right where I'm gonna kick it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a crazy feeling for sure.
I don't blame you, dude. I'd be like, nah, fam, I'm good. Be like, go run Brock out there to kick the field goal.
Yeah.
Send Brock out or chip out or something like that.
Can Cutter grab this ball and just run with it or something? This is not my problem.
Yeah.
I have only seen us in the last, I don't know how long, run an actual one good fake field goal. And I don't know how long. I mean, we've had to run fakes, but that's because the snap was dog shit. But that doesn't count. And that was against Florida. I think Stoops' first or second year, and it was the over-the-head pass. And he caught it and just threw it over his shoulder, and he caught him in stride. I think it faked the whole stadium out and ran for like a 35, 40-yard touchdown. That was great.
Crap.
Yeah.
I would love to do that.
Yeah, just
that would be electric.
Just watching Alex just high step into the end zone.
I don't know what I would do.
What is your touchdown celebration? No, you got to know it. We got to know, what is your touchdown celebration? What would it be?
I don't know. I feel like adrenaline would just take over. I'd either probably slam the ball.
There's definitely a 15-yard penalty on sportsmanlike coming if Alex scores a touchdown this year.
There's no telling what I'm doing.
So dancing, not really your.
See, I'm not a big dancer. I'm doing something with my body.
You gotta go tell Stoops, just like, listen, I'm just gonna let you know, if you call a fake and I do score, just know there's a 15-yarder coming if that happens.
I'm sure he'd be fine with that.
It evens out.
He'd rip his ass and give him a hug.
Yeah, exactly.
Now go kick it really far.
Yeah.
Go switch the field position.
Right.
What would be your walk-up song, obviously, if you were going to, obviously not be mentally, strong and everything, and you're going to go kick a game-winning field goal, what's the walk-up song that you would want for that?
I will say before games, I listen to The Show Goes On by Luke Fiasco. I don't know if y'all have heard that. That's my song.
Okay.
That's been my song since freshman year of college. That just kind of, like on the bus before catwalk, I listen to that, and then Feeling Good.
Okay.
I forgot who that's by, but.
Yeah, I forgot too. I forget a lot of things, but I know the song. I know exactly what you're talking about. Is there a specific pregame food that you like to have, or is it just kind of that doesn't matter?
Yeah, I try and keep it simple. I'm not worried about what I'm eating. I mean, I am, but an omelet for breakfast. For dinner, I'll eat some.
I thought he was about to say a caniac or something. I'm not worried about what I mean. We're gonna go have a caniac and a sweet tea, guys.
No, man. I try not to be superstitious with anything. Because I just feel like you're thinking too much. Let's just go do the damn thing. So
he is, until he has like something specific and hits a 56-yard field goal or something like that. And he's gonna be like, I'm gonna go do that again.
Yeah, exactly.
What's your number one thing you're working on this year? If you were gonna say, I have one part of my game that I want to work on this year, obviously schedule is always tough in the SEC, but there are a lot of games that if we are in it could come down to, no pressure. What is that one part of your game you want to work on?
This offseason, I've been working hard with a new coach. His name is Andrew Gantz. He's up in Ohio, Springboro, Ohio. So my whole career, I've been like a 3-step guy. I've kind of moved my steps back this year. I'm taking more space on field goal. So that, trying to explain it. So I was kind of jammed at contact. I wasn't able to get my body all the way through.
Yeah. You weren't kind of taking a full swing at it.
Right.
Yeah. It was, for the golf analogy might be good there, right? Like going from a drive to hitting a 9-iron. You weren't getting the full power behind it.
And so this year, I plan on hitting a lot more balls that are like drivers, like a more driven ball, but not a rainbow. You know what I mean? That's my goal. This year.
Power,
right? And obviously stay as accurate as possible, and hopefully get some chances for some long ones this year because I'm definitely capable.
What's kind of your range right now?
I mean, when I'm out there, I feel good from 60 and in. I really do.
So we should be covered.
Do we know what the Kentucky record for longest field goal is?
I don't.
Do you?
No.
We should. We need to look at it. You can ask your next. You ask something. I'm going to look that up and see.
You don't have it off the top of your head?
No, I don't have it off the top of my head.
So talk to us kind of about the difference between playing at Georgia Southern and their conference versus playing in the SEC. Obviously, two totally different worlds, but maybe something you weren't expecting, something like that.
like I said before, the pregame, I think it
Right.
was Florida, where I saw Tim Tebow pregame, and we were warming up, and we get 2 field goals like pregame before we go in the locker room, and me and Wilson, my holder is, we're standing right next to Tim Tebow, and that's when I was like, dude, this is wild,
Crazy.
this is so crazy. But preparation is the same at Georgia Southern. You still have a crowd there. You have obviously bigger crowd at Kentucky, but you got to prepare the same. It's the same kicks on the same uprights. So I try and treat it as the same thing.
Right. Makes sense. So what are you doing if Waka Flocka comes out this season and performs?
I hope Waka Flocka comes out.
I do
Were
too.
you weren't at? Oh, that wasn't this year. That was 2 years ago, wasn't
Yeah.
it? Against
Yeah.
Florida.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Everybody thought he was going to
We should bring him out at the swamp.
perform.
I mean, you should bring him out at the swamp anyway. We're going.
Yeah, we got to get Waka Flocka up here again.
Yeah.
There. Well, so I will tell you, Waka Flocka did a space and said he would love
He
to
would
lead
love
the
to.
team out against Georgia.
That'd be so sick.
So if we need to send him a DM, we can try and make that happen. Maybe we have to go ask some people here or something and go see if we can make that. He came out against Florida.
He didn't really do much.
We did. We won. That was the
Well,
game.
he didn't do
didn't.
much.
Yeah, but we did. That was the block field goal.
Yeah.
we-
Oh,
It was
right,
fabulous.
I'll never forget that whole segment with the block field goal was like for the touchdown was literally. I felt like it was in slow mo. It was kind of like
Yeah.
Stevie got loose moment. You don't remember that? You were like, I don't know. Were you born
No.
in 07?
Oh, well, yes, I was born.
Oh yeah.
Was I born?
Oh, you were like 4,
I was like
right?
5.
Oh, okay. See, close. Anyway, so kind of 2 last funny questions for you, and then we'll let you go. If you were not playing football, what would you be doing?
Probably golfing. Hopefully golfing at a school, college. Gosh, I don't. Soccer or golf? I just love sports. I feel like that, and working out, I feel like that keeps me sane. So gives me a purpose. So I'd have to be playing another sport like golf or soccer or something like that.
Follow up just to that. Who is the worst golfer on the team?
Oh God.
or someone, if they said, I want to golf with you, you're like,
You're like,
no.
Oh man. I'm only gonna say Dylan Ray because we're scramble partners. So
Okay.
I can talk some shit about him. But yeah, Dylan Ray.
What do you got?
Oh, let me think. Okay, well, you weren't asked this question. So we've asked a few of the guys, who on the team would you never let date your sister? We've had some popular answers.
Yeah, there's been some popular
I'm
answers.
excited
See,
to-
we kind of need to just ask everybody this now to
Yeah.
see if there's a trend.
Right.
We got to ask the
trying-
guy that's
I'm
part of the
trying-
trend today.
I'm already ready.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Who on the team do I talk to the least?
Yeah, who will not come after me in the
I'm gonna go with the trend, I think, because I think I saw a video on this. I'm
Okay.
gonna go with Josh Caddis. I love Josh though. Dude, that's my boy.
What would you have done if you just walked around the corner when you said you
Oh,
were?
he knows. He definitely knows.
Yeah.
I know that you said thanks, guys. Alex, really appreciate you taking time
Yeah.
out to join us. This was fun and getting into the weeds a little bit, and hope people get to understand you and kind of the process it is. And man, best of luck this season. We're gonna be cheering you on.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Hey, real quick, did you get the longest field goal? And
Oh yeah, sorry, I did. I think it's like 51.
Oh.
no way.
That's the only thing so it's the longest field goal in SEC at a SEC home game was 51. That I do know. I can't find anything else that talks about
Like at Kroger?
that was the longest field goal at home in SEC plays 51.
Interesting.
It's I think see everything I pull it up, it's pulling up a high school record which is 60. But it's not pulling up the Kentucky record. We'll have to maybe get back and look that up a little bit more and figure that. But the SEC home record is 51, and you'll have plenty of chances to beat that one. So now you got to
let's
lobby.
break that one for sure.
You got to lobby them, right? Like it's he's gonna be sitting there. It's gonna be like third and 5. Run the ball straight up the middle.
Yeah.
Coach.
Coach, if you get less than 3 yards on this play, like I can break the home
It's me.
SEC record. Like put me in.
Yeah. Brock, don't do anything right.
Don't throw a pick, Brock. Walks over. Jesus Christ. You ruined my chance at history. Oh, man. Thanks so much for joining us. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Go Big Blue.
Thanks for joining us on another episode of the Bleed Blue Network podcast. We hope you enjoyed diving deep into the world of Kentucky sports with us. Don't forget to stay connected by following us on Twitter at BleedBNation. Your feedback means the world to us. So take a moment to leave a review. Not only does it help us improve, but it also helps others discover the show. Until next time, keep cheering, keep listening, and keep bleeding blue.